YouTube and Facebook. Ooh, wow. Never seen it look like this. God, that looks terrible. Okay, maybe I can do it like this. Trying to... Dang it. Trying to get multiple windows going here. Okay, that's not going to allow me to see the comments if I do that. So that stinks. I suppose I don't have to have the stream thing up. I can go back and forth. Okay. I've never seen this option on Facebook before to do like some live management thing, and that just looks awful. Oh, there we go. That looks a lot better. Alright, good. So we got that. I can put this, well, maybe that back over here. Still getting set up. Also, finally got this kick thing started, and look, it says that it's not streaming, even though over here it says it was trying to connect. Why is it not connecting? Well, damn. I guess I can't use that now. Still says offline and it's not connecting. That sucks. Huh. Well, shit. That's a shame. Oh well. I guess I'll try it again next time. Try and troubleshoot that later. Alright, so Facebook, Twitch, and the most important channel or platform, YouTube. It's on. Hello. Alright. The first thing we're going to be checking out today, YouTube viewer request. So, anytime anyone would like me to watch something and do the reaction to it, hey, you just let me know. We'll talk about it. And 1 second. Come on. Yeah, okay. So there's that. Plug you in, and I think we are good to go. All right, so I feel like I should have like a video to start these live streams saying the same thing I always do. So this is the first time watching this video. The first thing we're going to watch is something called Memorize the Fretboard in 5 minutes. Looks like another fairly new channel. He has 4.14 thousand subscribers. And the channel is called Learning Guitar Secrets. Well, I can tell you this with certainty, that nobody can learn the entire fretboard or memorize the entire fretboard in 5 minutes. Most likely this is going to be a gimmick that's being taught here, or perhaps a trick in order to help you quickly navigate the fretboard. But that to me is not the same thing as having the entire fretboard fully memorized. But and the video is 8 minutes and 20 seconds long. So it's not one of those things of, hey, here's this trick on how to memorize the fretboard and the video is less than 5 minutes or at 5 minutes. But there we go. That's the first one. The second one we're going to be watching today, a little bit of a backstory on it. I'm going to save that for when we get there. But it's about a video called The Best Speed Picking Lesson Ever. So, let's get into it. Questions, comments? Yes, welcome anytime. And if you have any suggestions or things you would like me to check out, share them. Let's watch them. All right, here we go. First time watching Memorize the Fretboard in 5 Minutes by Learning Guitar Secrets. Let's see what they have to say.
Is it possible for you to know every note on the fretboard in under 5 minutes?
Only if you were 5 minutes away from already having this ability.
Challenge accepted. Let's start. Okay, so everyone's going to tell you to know your notes on the thickest string. And to me that makes no sense because the thickest string starts with E. And then F, G, A. It just makes no sense. I like things that start in the beginning.
Well, that is something I tell students. And the reason why I tell students that is because in this genre of music, we are playing power chords that start on the low E string very often. Same thing with the A string. And that's really how I learned the notes on the bottom two strings, is paying attention to the root notes of the power chords I was playing, really in a bunch of Iron Maiden songs, looking at tab books, whatnot. But let's see what he has to say. Maybe he's going to say start with the A string.
And there is a string that starts in the beginning. It starts with A, and it's the 5th string. And I like that because the alphabet starts with A. Okay? There's 7 letters to notes on the musical alphabet. So there's A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Just like the normal alphabet. So we've got A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A again. Okay? Now, the only thing you need to know and you need to memorize is that every one of those letters is separated by 2 frets. So from A to B, A, open, 1, 2, is B, okay? And all those letters are separated by 2 frets except for B to C, which is 1 fret, and
E to F.
That's the only rule you need to know. All right?
That is something I tell my students. As long as you can remember that B and C are a half step apart, and E and F are a half step apart, you're good. Because everything else is a whole step apart, or as he put it, 2 frets apart. So far, I'm with him.
Now, how are we going to memorize, let's just say, this note over here on the 4th fret. How do we know all the notes on the 4th fret, all the notes on the fretboard that are the same as that note? I want to know all those notes across the fretboard. Okay, so you can treat guitar as 3 pairs of strings. What do I mean with that? So we've got the thickest pair of strings is the 6th and 5th. Then we've got the middle pair of strings, which are the 4th and 3rd. And then we've got the thinnest pair of strings, which is the 2nd and 1st. Okay? And I want you to think of them as thick and thin, thick and thin, thick and thin. So we've got a thick, a thick, a thick, a thin, a thin, a thin. Okay? Now, whatever happens on the thickest pair of strings is going to happen on the middle pair of strings, and it's going to happen on the thinnest pair of strings, exactly the same order. We're just going to have to bounce fret. So
my assumption is he's doing he's going to go over the octave thing, meaning basically like how your power chord is set up. So, you got your A5 here. Well, thick to thick, as he's putting it. There's A to A, A to A. Here is, well, let's go D to D. And then you got your, yeah. God damn it. Anyway, so yeah, he's doing the whole octave trick here.
We started with this note over here on the 4th fret, 5th string. So if we get these two notes, those two notes can be located on the middle pair of strings. We're in the thickest pair of strings. Can be located on the middle pair of strings, 2 frets higher from there. So same notes. Okay? And those two notes, which are the same, can be located on the thinnest pair of strings, 3 frets up from there. 1, 2, 3. Same note. So we've got. Okay? So this is how it works. We've got that note. I don't even know what note it is at the moment. That note on the 5th string, 4th fret. Now, to locate that same note, we're on the thickest pair of string. On the middle pair of strings, we jump 2 frets. And we go to the thinnest string of that pair. So we're in the thinnest pair of the thickest string. Thinnest string of the thickest pair. We jump 2 frets, 1, 2, and we jump to the thinnest string. So we've got this. Same note. Okay, to locate that same note, which is on the thinnest string of that pair, on the thinnest strings, we jump 3 frets. 1, 2, 3, and jump to the thinnest string. Okay, so we've got this. Same note. So now we know that note on 3 strings already. Now, you probably know that the thinnest string and the thickest string are the same note, an E note. So we can jump from here to the thickest string. So we've got, and now this note is the same as this one. Now we're on the thickest pair of each string. So we've got, and now we can do the same process down again, but now we're on the thickest string. So here to the next pair of strings is 2 frets. And to the thinnest pair of strings is 3 frets. 1, 2, 3. So now I know all of those notes on 6 strings, right? On all my strings, I know all the notes. And this one.
That's not knowing all your notes, though. I get what he's saying. I could tell he's new to this. Applaud your effort. Now, one question I have is, like, okay, what if you start on the low E string? Then what do you do for the octave thing going back down? Because obviously going from the high E string to the low E string makes perfect sense. Nice, easy trick. But what if you start this process on the low E string instead of the A string? And there's other locations for the same note. That's not giving you every single spot, but it is a nice trick in order to navigate notes quickly.
If we go here, it's this one. Same note, okay? So what note is that? So we've got A, B. From B to C, there's 1 fret. And 1 fret higher is the 4th fret, which is the note we picked. So it's A, B, C, C sharp. I think it took us a little bit more than 5 minutes. Let's say challenge accepted for 5 minutes and a half, okay? Now you can do this backwards to find any note and know the name of that note. So for example, let's just say I find this note over here. On the 13th fret, 2nd string. What note is that? So I'm going to go to find it on the thickest pair of strings, to find it on the A string, and that's the string I know, right? Okay.
So it seems like his advice is going to be always find the note in question on the A string and go from there. I feel like that is too much work. Know the names of your strings. Learn the names of your strings. Learn the names of your strings, and that's going to help you quite a bit.
Okay, so I'm here. 1, 2, 3. I jump to this over here. Okay, 1, 2, and now I'm on the thickest string. I know that it's the thinnest. I'm on the thickest string. I want the thinnest string. So I jump over here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. I know that's a C. A, B, C.
Okay, so I guess he kind of answered my question there. What happens if you start on the low E string? He's going to have you jump up to the high E string and then do the octave thing going backwards. That's too much work.
Pretty cool, right? You can do this with any note. Just follow the sequence. Do that cascade, and you'll be rocking in no time. If you want to know how to apply this method to playing lead guitar to where, hey, I know each pair of string, so if I find this note, 1, 2, 3, it's also here. 1, 2, it's also here. But what if I find a little box? Oh, 2. Oh. So now I can apply that same method. I know that there, I can apply it here. And I know it here. Just like that. Let me show you. It's pretty cool.
They seem very unsure. Like, it's pretty cool. Like, I don't know.
See how it bounces? That same shape I just played bounces, and you can start playing solos.
Did that seriously print out and say click video?
It's pretty cool. See how it bounces? That same.
I'm assuming this is supposed to be an e-book and he just printed it out to have a physical copy. Okay.
Shape I just played bounces, and you can start playing solos right away. If you want to know how to do that, download that little book. The link is going to be somewhere down there, and I'll see you inside. So the next one.
Okay, well, there you go. Nope, you cannot memorize the entire fretboard by doing that. That is not memorizing the entire fretboard, but it's a decent enough trick to navigate notes on the fretboard somewhat quickly, although I feel there's a bit more, too much work to his method there. Just learn the names of your strings. Do that octave trick. That's very helpful, for sure. You can quickly locate notes doing that. But learn the names of your strings. You're going to be better off for that and save you a lot of time. So as my dad taught me to memorize the names of the strings, one of those, I don't remember what the hell the thing's called, but you know, you have make a sentence out of the first letter of things. So, you know, E, A, D, G, B, E. He taught me every ass does good by everyone, or everybody. Every ass does good by everyone. And I thought that was funny and silly, so I never forgot the names of my strings. So there we go. Okay. The next thing, the big one here. Well, I feel it's a big one. I've been wondering about when I'm going to get to this, and I did mention there's a bit of backstory on this. So let me get to it first. Finding it. Wait, let me take this one off the watch later. Here we go. So, God, I don't remember how long ago this was. This was back when I had my first office space where like an official office space I taught out of the in-person lessons, the one-on-one stuff. And I had a video out about alternate picking versus economy picking. And my opinion or thoughts on economy picking has changed a little bit since then. but I wish I still had the thing up, because I was actually thinking it'd be kind of neat to react to my old thing, see like how much my opinion has changed on what I said back then, and also go over another thing. So basically, the person we're going to be checking out here today, Allen Van Wert, I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce the last name. Well, he actually made a response video to my old video like 10 years ago. It wasn't a bad video. Of course, when I came across that, I was like, oh no, what? And you know, you come across something like that, your heart jumps, you're like, oh my God, what the? But it wasn't a bad thing. It was basically just him kind of describing why he feels economy picking is better. He did say I presented good arguments in the original video. I did leave a comment on his response saying, well, basically my thoughts on alternate picking versus economy picking, and I'd be happy to, maybe get on Skype and have a discussion with him about it. I don't know if he ever saw the comment because there was no reply to it. So I don't know. And it looks like on his YouTube channel now, like the last video he did was a year ago. So I'm not sure if he's even doing anything anymore. But I do know he could play very, very well. He is a very good guitar player. Fantastic. And I'm assuming watching this that we're not going to agree on everything. So this will be an interesting one, I think. Now, to be fair, I still believe that in order to play your absolute fastest stuff, like involving scale run type things, locking into stupidly fast alternate picking is the best way to play absurdly fast things. But that's when it comes to, God, I'm not warmed up, so this might be very embarrassing, especially after the workout I just did today. So here I go, disproving myself. But my stance has been, like, once you lock into this kind of motion, I suppose I can turn off the delay and the reverb, because I'm sure someone's going to be like, you're covering it up, man. And maybe I am. Stuff like that. That's not my fastest, but it's pretty dang close. I'm not warmed up at all, and I'm not going to try and get to my fastest right now anyway, because, well, maybe later. And maybe it sounds like I'm full of shit and lying, but those of you who know me know that I can push it a little bit more anyway. And I just don't see how economy picking can allow you to lock into that kind of speed and still hit the string changes on two strings, going like a down, up, down, down, down. How do I say it? Like down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up. But again, to be fair, as I was trying to get at, I haven't put it to the test. And I've said, like, to students before, like, well, if somebody can actually match those kinds of speeds I was just doing or faster with economy picking, then fair enough. I haven't seen it happen, but we might see it in this video. We might. And perhaps Alan is going to shut me up and change my opinion, which would mean I would want to learn how to do this better, or just do it, period, because there are some things that I do agree that economy picking is better for. And one of the examples I tell my students is an Iron Maiden riff that, I did try doing the alternate picking first. God, see how well this goes. that's the riff right there. And with that, like, if I was to alternate pick that... God, I'm already screwing it up. It's very challenging to play cleanly. So I found that actually doing economy picking on that riff made it easier to play up to speed and make it sound good. So what the hell am I doing? I'm going like down, up, down, down. Okay, so I'm doing 2 downstrokes and then up. So down, up, down, down, up, down. Right. Down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, or up, down, up, down. So, I believe in my original video, the one that Allen made a response to, I'm pretty sure I arrogantly claimed, naively claimed, stupidly claimed that you should never do economy picking in under any circumstance, and that it was basically stupid and you should always alternate pick everything. If I actually said that, and I'm pretty sure I did, shame on me, I was wrong. Because there are times when economy picking, or as some people call it, directional picking, is a better choice. I know in Allen's, or I remember in Allen's response video, he brought up sweep picking, such as doing multiple strings at the same time. Obviously, you can't go as fast as this. But, I mean, that's almost like alternate picking anyway, isn't it? Because, like, you're just making a bunch of bigger down and up. You know, that's kind of how I thought about it. So it really depends on what it is you're trying to play. Depending on what it is you're trying to play will determine if you should do strict alternate picking, maybe do some economy picking. But again, my whole stance is, if you want to be able to go... stuff like that, I do believe, so far, that strict alternate picking is the way to go. But, let's find out. Let's see what we can learn here. So this is the first time I'm watching this video. This was put out 9 years ago. Okay. Yeah, 9 years ago, 18,000 views. And yeah, we got slow motion stuff in here using a GoPro camera, which one of these days I'd actually like to get that. So anyway, let's get to it. First time watching this video. Let's see what we can learn. Let's see if I can become convinced to give economy picking a fair shot in playing as fast as I freaking can. As long as my schedule will allow it. Here we go.
Hi everybody, I just got a question from someone who says they've been a long-time viewer, and they had a really good question, and it's something that I came to terms with recently in my own playing. So this is going to be definitely enlightening for everyone, probably for most people, I would think. So it's cool stuff, a little bit humorous in a way, because they're saying the same stuff that I thought and I was incorrect about with picking. So we'll get right down to it. What the question was is, if you're doing like the Paul Gilbert lick that he always taught, that he's been showing people for a while, that whole deal where, same thing, Michael Angelo Badio, I think, was doing the same, that sort of motion, where you're including one note from the other string, at least at first. I usually do this as like a string skip, right? And the question was, when I'm picking this stuff, or when the dude's picking this stuff, he's from the question, it sounds like alternate picking, like this, and they're like, how do I cross over the string without hitting it? He said it's impossible to curl his hand, or to turn his hand like this, to not hit the string twice. totally get that. Okay, I always assumed that I was hitting the string twice until I used the GoPro camera to slow myself down 4 times slower so I can watch it back. And I'm actually avoiding the strings, even on string skips, like when I run. I'm avoiding the middle strings, and it's amazing because when I play really quick, it looks like a blur, like I'm just shaking. Even at high speeds, it looks like too much movement. But when it slows down, you'll see me tilting like this to avoid the string. It's a small amount, but...
Hey, he's talking about stuff Troy popularized. The, first called pick slanting, which I think is always going to stay. Pick slanting is not going away. I don't think that term is going to be changed. But now Troy is calling it escape motions. Like, yeah, pick escape motions. And this is exactly what Allen is now talking about, sounds like.
But it's just enough to avoid the middle string. So it's practice. That's all it is. And he said there's no human that could avoid the string or curl that fast and avoid hitting the string twice or hitting in between string.
Of course there is.
Playing. Well, I was going to make a joke and say I'm not a human, I'm robot. But no, I think people definitely could do this because I've been doing it for a while. I didn't even realize. I always assumed I was just hitting the strings in the middle and just did it so fast I didn't hear it. But I actually avoid them, which is kind of creepy because I didn't know I was doing that. And when I watch it back in slow motion, I was like, wow, how is my hand doing all this extra stuff at those...
Sometimes people do hit the other string. And sometimes if you're... So, Troy calls it swiping. I've always just said, I'm just muting it. So like when you hit adjacent strings or whatever, when you're going from one string to the next, if you're muting well enough, you won't hear it. But it really depends on which speed you're doing. So eventually, for certain things, if you reach a high enough speed, I know I am unable to get my hand, do that little twist thing to avoid hitting the other string, and I'll just blast right through it. It also depends on what it is that is being played, too. Like, it's got to be something I can actually get into those, like, I don't know, call it turbo picking speeds. Or, what the hell did one guy call it? There was some 80s video, was it 80s? Hyper picking is what he called it. So because that was the first instructional video that Troy found about it, he calls it hyper picking. Like I just called it jiggle picking because I was making a Aqua Teen Hunger Force reference. A student of mine called it like controlled spasming. Spasm picking. Anyway.
Speeds. But anyway, that's a lot of talking. So here's the lick idea. Right? Now alternate would be down, up, down, skip around, up, then skip around, down, up, down. To me that is a lot of waist motion. So down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. And I used to do that, and I used to get it really quick too. So it's not impossible to do like that. There's alternate. Oop. Not used to it, but you can do it. In economy, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. So if you wanted to do this as like, not really economy, but the way I play it, it's basically where you're starting on an upstroke. Not that I start on a downstroke, but it converts to an upstroke the second time and then stays.
Funny enough, is it funny enough? I did see a Paul Gilbert video where he said he actually does start it with an upstroke. And he regrets not telling people that in the popular instruction video he made where people are trying to play this lick that Allen is discussing. So yeah, Paul Gilbert did start it with an upstroke according to his follow-up video he made many years after the fact.
That way. And I don't care. You know, does it sound like I'm messing up? Not much. Maybe a little. So at those speeds, skipping another one. It's a little bit unclean. By the way, I'm not plugged in, as you can see, because that's important too. When you're practicing speed stuff, don't amplify it all the time. You know, a good portion of practice should be just a clean, boring guitar, right? Another thing I wanted to mention is the speed at which you're practicing. And he said, if I speed it up with the metronome, that doesn't work either, because once I get to a certain speed, my hand can't turn. And he said, no human's hand can turn and avoid the string, which is incorrect, surprisingly enough. And you'll see that with the slow motion portion. Hopefully I can get just the right angle so you can see it do the tilt thing with enough light. It's tough to get the camera in at those angles, but I'm going to try my best to do that so you can definitely understand what I'm saying. Especially in slow motion. It's still pretty quick in slow motion, 4 times slower. It's still like da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, but at least you could get a much better view. You can actually see what the hell's going on when I'm playing fast.
I hope he says some more about the metronome thing. Because, yeah, when you do reach a certain speed with the metronome, then if you're doing the little quick turn thing or whatever, if your goal is to get better at avoiding the string, once you reach that speed where you can't do it, stay at that speed until you can, and then go a little bit more. So I don't know how fast this guy Allen is. Well, we'll say Allen's student, because I'm assuming it's a student or a person, whatever. I'm just going to say Allen's student because I don't know. So let's say Allen's student was going up, I don't know. What if he was actually following my advice of going up in 5 BPM increments, and that extra 5 was just too damn much? Well, I would say go back down 5, make sure you can do it again at that speed, and then just go up in 1. Go up in 1s. You can do that too. So sometimes going up a 5 is too much. It's amazing how much 5 beats per minute can be like a make or break kind of speed. It really can make a huge difference there. Anyway, continuing.
All right. So the trick is when you're practicing slow, and you'll notice even in slow motion, if I show I'll be playing slow, I do this thing where I pop my hand out, kind of like Eric Johnson's thing. I don't know why I developed that too, but that seems to go on, and I pick more from the wrist, more from the thumb. When I speed up, you'll notice I grip like this. I'll do this grip thing, and I slightly turn my wrist down. Don't know why I do that, but I naturally have been doing it, I guess. And then I lock in place. I think the reason is it makes it so the pick does not give at all.
So he's saying some stuff that reminds me of what, we'll say, Troy Grady has reported. And I kind of the same way, like, sounds like Allen has done a similar thing where he just kind of went for it. And then, I mean, obviously he's done more than just going for it, because if he's gone from strict alternate picking everything into doing the economy picking instead, he's obviously put thought into what he does, and the fact that he has become aware of what he's doing at different speeds also shows he's, well, paying attention to what he does. But yeah, developing certain things, we tend to have small differences from one player to the next. But this is also why I tell my students, like, as long as it sounds good when you're doing something, that's all that really matters. So it doesn't matter if it looks different, like the way you pick looks different from me, if it looks different from Allen, looks different from Paul Gilbert. My picking sure as shit looks different from Marty Friedman's. I think damn near everybody's picking looks different compared to Marty Friedman's. And I certainly don't recommend anybody try and pick like Marty Friedman. I don't get how the hell he can play like that. But it clearly works for him. So focusing on how your hands look when you do this stuff, I think is not the best idea. Focusing on how it sounds is the most important thing. And if the way you hold your hand, if you notice that it has become or is becoming detrimental, then we start worrying about how your hands look. But until then, as long as it sounds the way you want it to sound, that's the important thing. If it sounds good, then you're good. Mission accomplished.
It's almost like it doesn't move. So what you want to do here is notice the difference. If you're practicing like this with your thumb and index finger or with your wrist or whatever, and then you try to speed that up, that's only going to get so fast before it causes stress and it's not working.
Yep.
Or if you pick from the arm, now there's another added benefit I never thought about, but when you pick from the arm, that's a natural motion to move fast.
Yes.
When you're picking from the arm, it also allows you to twist the wrist without causing, like if I'm going like this, picking like most people with the wrist, doing this and doing this, that seems pretty crazy, right? Or even with the thumb and then doing this, not as bad. But most people pick from the wrist. So if I was going like this, it seems almost impossible. I can't even do it slowly to do this and lift. But if I go like this with my arm and lift, that's like a joke. That's so easy. It's like turning a doorknob, right? So another benefit I could add to my repertoire when I talk about using the arm to pick fast is allowing me to avoid double picking a string or skipping a string. Right? So that type of speed, it's nice and clean. I'm not plugged in. There's no compressor. I'm going through a vocal mic actually, so not warmed up. So you're getting the real authentic Allen playing when he sucks today. So it is what it is, but that's actually a good thing, I think. So you can see the reality of it. Now, I'm going to switch over to slow motion and show you how to do this. But first, the tip. I forgot to mention it. To practice this stuff, you want to practice what you're going to be doing fast, but do it slow motion for real. All right, so don't go like this and practice with your thumb or whatever and try to speed that up. Try to go as fast as you can without thinking about technique and see what happens. Most people, it seems like, from that I've been teaching for years, your arm starts to engage. It starts to...
So yeah, this is another thing that Troy talks about. Like, this is what Troy meant by, instead of working up the speed, just start with the speed. Basically figure out how the hell to move fast. So, you know, I'm a big proponent of working things up to get faster and faster and faster. But I'm also a proponent of, once you reach a speed that you no longer can, which you can't hit, basically once you reach a speed you can't play, experiment with how you can play it. Like, figure out how to just get your arm or whatever moving to hit those speeds. But yeah, like, picking from the arm, elbow picking, it's the fastest way. It's the fastest way that I've seen, anyway. It sounds like Allen agrees, because he's preaching it right now, so there you go. Because you got to use those bigger muscles to, push those speeds and get kind of violent with it, get angry.
Using the arm. So that's what your body wants to do, so that's probably right. Years of evolution is not going to trump what my ideals or your ideals are for what you expect your body to do. It is going to do what it needs to do, right? So go with that, but then refine it. And by refine it, I mean take that motion where your arm is doing this little slight movement, but do it slow. So instead of practicing like pick, and try to speed that up, do your fast motion and slow it down. And practice that with the arm. I know it's going to be weird. It's one of the harder things to do because the sensation wants you to go faster. But by doing that, and then gradually speed it up. Sense of word.
Now, this kind of reminds me of that video we watched, 2 weeks ago, where what the channel is called How to Practice Guitar. And he was saying that basically the fast motions you make, or the motions you make for the fastest stuff, is how you need to practice it slow. So it sounds like Alan's saying the same thing here. Maybe it's just to get used to that better? I don't know. Anyway, I'm still not sold on the idea of practicing with the big arm movements at the slower speeds. But perhaps there is benefit to it. Because that's 2 teachers now who are saying that that's a good idea to get used to the arm stuff. I don't know, maybe it's worth it for some people out there. I don't know.
A variation on this, if you get sick of those notes, by the way, you just do the blues scale. Dorian up here. Or, that's a good one. That sounds nice for blues and rock, so metal. Yeah, I gotta warm up. But anyway, that's that. I'm going to now convert this over to slow motion. Audio won't be great, obviously, because it's 4 times slower, but you'll get the point of it. And hopefully I get just the perfect angle so you can see what's actually happening with my picking once and for all. Maybe I'll do it like, I should play for an entire day, like I do like session stuff and like all the stuff I have to record. And then, after I spent the whole day practicing and playing the guitar, then do a slow motion video. I was thinking maybe the next one I could do that. So we get to check out a difference of what happens after I'm really warmed up. It's got to be a difference because I could hear the difference. I just don't know what the heck it is. There's more accuracy somehow. Maybe it'll look real creepy or something. It'd be funny if I saw it in slow motion and I wasn't even moving. There's like the string moved or something. No, I doubt that. But alright guys, good luck with this. Hopefully I helped this individual out. I think this definitely does. I can't think of any better reasoning, logic, explanation behind this, especially since I'm going to show you in slow motion, so there's no BS involved at all. It's just, it is what it is. Alright, so you don't have to take my word for it. Watch it and you can see. Alright, that's the reply of the day. Maybe of the week. I can't do these every day, so maybe of the month. Maybe once a month I'll reply to a question in video. Well, let me know what you think. If you guys want it once a week, maybe I could do that. So let me know. If not, well, maybe we'll do it once a month or something. Just ask really fun, good questions, that's all. Don't be like, what kind of ice cream do you enjoy after practicing? That's stupid. No dumb questions. There's no stupid question, except for that ice cream question. Because it's implying you think that I eat lots of ice cream. No, I don't. Bye.
Just makes me wonder, has somebody asked him something that silly? Reminds me of one time a student shook my hand when I was doing the in-person lessons. Then he asked me, why are your hands so soft? Like, because I use lotion? He was a teenager. But then the most bizarre question I was ever asked, at least I think it was the most bizarre, because again, this is the first office space that I had. So you come into the end of the place, like this waiting area. He had a couch out there, a big old comfy one. The student donated because he couldn't get rid of the thing. He's like, hey, do you want it? I'm like, all right, put it here for sure. So you had that, and then you go, towards the end of the office space a bit, and you have like this room off to the side, which was really didn't get used much. But then you have my room, which was, had decent space, bigger than what I'm in right now, and a little bit bigger. But there's also a couch in there too, because sometimes parents would be there and they want to be in there with the kids, which was very rare. But just try to make the place comfortable, and hell, it was nice to be in there anyway. In fact, I really fucked up one day and decided to take a nap on the couch and didn't set an alarm, and I slept through somebody's lesson. I woke up, the guy who was supposed to be there first, they were very kind and understanding, because the guy, oh god, that was freaking embarrassing. If you're ever going to take a nap and you got, students to work with or any kind of clients, set an alarm. Don't just assume you're going to wake up. I was really out of it that day. God, I felt terrible. I actually have nightmares about missing lessons and sleeping through things. Anyway, yeah, I think I woke up at like 5:32 or something like that. I don't know, it was 5:30 something. So I slept through the 5 o'clock guy's thing. My 5:30 was out there, but they were both very kind and understanding. And so I taught the 5 o'clock guy and then the 5:30 guy. And boy, I felt like ass the entire time. Deaf world, hello. If only I could say I made it in time for the students I slept through. Anyway, look at Allen's pick. It looks like he also uses a pretty thick beveled pick. Huh. From this angle, it looks like a pretty big one. Looks like he and I both like these things. I wonder what brand he's using there. Anyway, all right, well, let's continue on here. It's about, we got halfway to go. It's a V pick, okay. Hello, Mr. Plastodon. This is an early version of the magnet being used, I guess. I wonder where he has the GoPro set up. So is this the end of the video where he's just like playing stuff and having it go slow? Is there any more explanation on stuff? So I think I'm going to skip ahead here. I'm going to skip ahead here so we can actually get to the discussion part, not the demonstration part. Clearly Allen can play the way he said he was. I never doubted it. His name, YouTube question is, which player are you talking about? His name is Allen Van Wert. At least I hope that's how you pronounce the name. Allen Van Wert. And the lesson is, or the video is titled Best Speed Picking Lesson Ever with Slow Motion. And here's where I might get in trouble. I would not call this the best speed picking lesson ever because I don't really feel like it's... I mean, is there good information in here? Yes. You guys know how I feel about saying something is the best or this and that. But I have been guilty of titling shit like that myself, so, you know, shame on me for ever doing that. I get why he would do that. Trying to get the clicks, trying to get the views. But, I'm just trying to think, like, what would you call it? Or what would I call something like this? Maybe just something like addressing the Paul Gilbert lick. I don't know, it's tough. Trying to name things, you know, well, But yeah, best speed picking lesson ever. No, I can't agree with that. Is it a good speed picking lesson? Yes. It's a good picking lesson. Is it about speed picking? Kind of. It's about attacking a specific kind of lick. Anyway. Whatever. Let's continue. I'm going to read that stuff from Deaf World after we finish this one here so we don't get too off track, but okay. Alright, let's continue on. I'm going to get to the next part of discussion here. I mean, to be fair, he is talking about some speed picking things for sure, and advice he was giving on it, I do agree with how, for the most part, one of the only things that I there's a couple things I question as to like why work up the arm picking motions slowly. Has he ever, because I just question, like, is there really any benefit to doing that? Because to me it's like you really only feel it once you're already up there in those speeds. So it's like, do you really need to hit it like that at the slower speeds? Because, anyway. Well, no, not anyway. Because I like the idea of getting used to how your mechanics change when you're going from slow to medium to fast and getting a sense of what happens there. But seeing as how this is the second fast player who has said use the arm picking motions slowly to improve that technique, makes me wonder, perhaps there is value in that. I'm not convinced yet, but maybe there is. Maybe there's a circumstance where it would be good. And then he also talks about it's good to practice this kind of stuff with no amplification, just the acoustics of the electric guitar. My personal experience and what students have reported when they get used to playing with just the guitar is when they actually go to the guitar, it just feels different and it doesn't quite sound the same. Now, maybe we just suck. But I was like, the way like your amp works, the way the compression or lack of compression works, keeping unwanted noise in check, it's definitely a different game when playing with just an unplugged electric versus plugged in. For my personal experience, for my own practice and working with students, I feel it's best that you should be plugged in most of the time. Maybe a little bit without, but yeah. I don't remember how often he said to do it without being plugged in. But anyway, those are the only two things I question so far.
I don't know how fast he actually does it, but important.
All right, getting back to the discussion portion.
By the way, I want to mention first too, important. I used to alternate pick, and I got that same stuff up to the same speed as like what Paul Gilbert was showing it at least on record. I don't know how fast he actually does it, but I got it up to about the same speed doing alternate picking. So that's totally possible. Of course, he's not like also robotic or something weird and funny. So you can do it. Even on string skips, I used to do all that because I was an alternate picker. However, when I switched to economy, I find it's a little bit easier. At least for me, I think most people would probably find that once they get used to it, because there's a little bit less motion, which is what you've been talking about, which is what I've been teaching for a long time about economy motion. There's a little bit less of a motion going on when you're doing it economy. Not much less, because it's only one note on the top string. Anyway, so you got to...
So yeah, because he's starting with the downstroke, there is one instance of the economy motion, but after that, it's strict alternate picking from that point on. So I'm curious how it would go if he was doing it to a metronome with that one instance of economy picking. So I wonder, how often did he practice these things with a metronome versus just kind of going for it? And I would imagine he would check it with the metronome. He seems like the kind of guy who would. I don't know.
You got to come back through. But it feels a little bit smoother for whatever reason, even as string skips. So when I did it alternate, I could get it about his speed, right? And then I noticed, I'm not warmed up, but when I'm warmed up and I spent the whole day playing guitar or something, and I feel like I'm really good at it, I could play it even faster like pretty stupid, like a ridiculous speed, even on skipping. And it's clean doing that stuff with economy. Alternate I can't. Probably because I don't practice alternate like I used to at all. I've switched over years ago to full on economy.
Jesus Christ. What the fuck? What an abrupt ending. Okay, so now we're just at the end of his video. All right, we'll at least watch his outro here. But man, that caught me off guard, which is why I'm laughing, because I did not expect that. And so all of a sudden, hey, I'm saying some stuff. Boom! Fucking goddamn.
Is if you would like to get really good information and really good on the guitar, it's simple. It's free. Subscribe to me. I'm going to give you the best information. I'm going to correct problems before they even occur. And you'll get awesome.
Goodness gracious. All right, well, there we go. Hell of an ending there. So yeah, obviously the dude can play. Clearly, there's no questions about that. I want to examine this economy picking with that lick, or even the string skipping stuff. And then we'll get to the Deaf World story here. So he talks about the economy picking thing here. So like, yeah, if you're starting with a downstroke here and you have your alternate picking, gotta keep adjusting this thing. I'm in my gym shorts still. Too much thigh. So yeah, he's talking about going, you got your down, up, down, and then you gotta go past the E string, hit the upstroke, come past the B string, and continue on. So what he's saying is, you know, he starts with the downstroke still, and then he'll go down, up, down, down, and then hits the B string with an up. So he'll go down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. But either way, I suppose one is more, well, yeah, one's more, we'll say, extreme than the other. So, like, even if you start with the upstroke here, you got your up, which would happen doing the economy picking thing. So you got your up, down, up. Well, now you have to clear the B string to hit the E. And now you have to clear the E string to hit the B. So either way, you know, I'm going to cheat and just start with the damn downstroke here. Either way, you're honestly just going to have to jump over the strings anyway, whether you start with the downstroke and have that one instance of economy picking, or you start strictly alternate picking and stay that way. Because at the end of the day, you end up alternate picking most of it. So you got the same issue to conquer. So, which he did just fine. But yeah, that was strict alternate picking, I would say. Only that one instance was not. So he got used to doing it, the way he was doing it, which just works better for him, which is totally fine. But it's really just like, starting certain licks with an upstroke versus a downstroke can work a lot better for some people. And that's really all it is. Because either way, you're going to have to go around the string somehow. All right. So, yes, like, read. I'm just going to read it out so this way other channels can know what the hell's going on here. Oh yeah, on the DM regarding the white trash cougar I told you about. There's this damn 50-something-year-old cougar who calls me Superman and stuff. I was taking a picture for my finalized job, and she said, "Why not take a picture of me?" And I told her sternly yet angrily, no. She could see my anger. Well, goodness. Maybe she's a fan. Yes, he starts on an up. Are we talking about Paul Gilbert starting on an up? Because I know I talked about that earlier. I don't know if you're watching from the beginning or from where we're currently at. As I struggle with economy picking, one of my picking techniques I got to work on. More of a Batman. Yeah, well, I definitely am a Batman guy versus Superman as well. Alright, well, there we go. So yeah, that video is 9 years old, one we just checked out, and it looks like the last thing he did was, that's like a year ago. Yeah, the response thing he did for my original video it's still up, and I would be watching it as well, and kind of responding to it during the live stream, but the original one that I had up is gone. I ended up making an update to it, like something called like economy picking versus, or like alternate picking versus economy versus sweep picking or whatever. And I think I don't remember what the hell I said. It didn't bring up as much controversy as the first one did. So I can only assume that I had a much more, or at least slightly more mature approach to the discussion in the update. Because no one's getting pissed off at me on that one. Getting a processor. I'm like a effects processor. Like a multi-effects kind of thing. Okay, well, there we go. First hour down. So you know what that means. Bathroom time, of course. But we got lots of other videos that we get to check out. So, it'd be nice if there's a way I could share this. Yes, remove watched video. Well, no, because I might show unavailable videos? No. Huh. Well, I don't know. Alright. We'll be back in a couple minutes, and then we will pick another video and go. Okay, multi-effects processor. Which one are you gonna get? Okay, never know which one to pick here. Always got tons of birth to go through. Birth. But perhaps somebody would like to pick something. Oh, I'll scroll somewhat slow here. And if anyone sees a title that sticks out to them, type it out. First come, first serve. So whatever shows up first, that's the one we're going to watch. And if I go to the bottom, I'll just pick one. Thrash metal riffs. Max. 5 thrash metal guitar riffs to practice every day. Alright. We had the first one. We're going with it.
Hey guys, in this video, I'm going to give you 5 thrash metal style guitar riffs that I want you to practice every day, because these riffs I'm going to show you is going to help you become a better metal rhythm guitar player. Alright guys, before we get started, make sure you subscribe to my channel and ding the little bell. So these 5 thrash metal riffs I'm going to show you, what's going to happen is I'm going to play each riff at normal speed, and then after that, I'll bring it in close and I'll break everything down for you note by note. Now, one quick note, no pun intended, is each riff is part of a song, and I'll kind of explain that along the way as well. So guys, let's jump right in and let's play some metal.
Oh, I'm a little disappointed. So this is titled Triplets, Palm Mutes with Riffing. These are not triplets. He's playing a reverse gallop. That is a mix of 16th notes and 8th notes, which is commonly, incorrectly referred to as triplets. So he's playing 1 E-an, 2 E-an, 3 E-an. So that's 2 16th notes and 1 8th note. A triplet takes a beat, or it doesn't have to be a beat. It's typically taking a beat and splitting it up into 3 equal parts, because you can have 8th note triplets, you can also have 16th note triplets, quarter note triplets, half note triplets. Can you have a triplet? I don't know, maybe. I don't know how the hell that would work. I don't even know what that means. But, yeah. So yeah, a triplet is like going 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a. So these would be triplets. He's doing reverse gallops, which again is 2 16ths and an 8. So now back to back, something like. So there is a definite difference between actual triplets and what he said is incorrectly a triplet. You used to watch him back in 2020, 2021. We moved on. I went my way and he went his. Does that mean... Sounds like you two had a personal relationship there. You don't think Jason knows theory? Well, I guess that's possible. I know he did. I think he did something about circle of fifths, maybe. So I believe he knows something. He's got to know something. My riff is much better. Well, thank you. But hey, we just started here, so who knows? Well, let's see what else we got here. But we're gonna play the riff anyway. Hey, I think I did something wrong. Is that it?
Alright, so this first metal riff is kind of a real thrashy metal style riff, and I'll explain the song in a bit here where this comes from, but we're going to start out with a basic power chord.
Kind of like
then we're going to do
Metallica.
what's called a triplet, an alternate pick back and forth.
Not a triplet.
Real fast, real snappy, and we're going to palm mute that.
Reverse
like
gout, damn it.
We're going to do that twice. You hear that? So going chicka-chun, chicka-chun. Like I said, real snappy, very, very quick. Just hit that power chord. Just practice that in the beginning. Now I'm hitting the power chord. But when I do that alternate pick, when I'm calling a triplet here, I'm only doing that on the E string. So again, power chord, then triplet twice.
He's using Studio One.
Okay, that part's pretty simple. Then we move on to the riff. Okay, so the riff is...
I was right. Man, I cannot get this thing at the right angle. Alright, there's the first riff, see? Still sub to him, don't interact as much as you used to. Well, I'm glad I am more your style. Glad you found me. His channel's still doing way better than mine.
Now, for one, I'm alternate picking those notes because after doing the triplets, the jig-a-jig...
Give me that. Give me the second one. Downstrokes with single note riffs. Again, it sounds like Metallica. Wait a minute. Do it again.
Alright, this next thrash metal riff...
Do it again. I want to harmonize it.
Now that riff is actually... that I released back in 2013. Two parts like we did the prior one here, and what we're focusing on this time, guys, called Apocalyptic Dreams, as we did back in 2013. Next thrash metal riff, we're gonna break this down into two parts. Like
We got it. And it was harmonized, which makes it extra metal on the harmonized in fourths. Love gallop riffing. Always incorporate that, whether it be death thrash, new metal, metalcore, etc. And open chug single note picking too. Yes, it is metal AF. Now, are you talking about regular gallops or reverse gallops or a combination? All right, number 3. Let's get to it.
And that on a 7 string, if I'm not mistaken, but we're playing it on 6, for this particular lesson. But again, it's a very good riff to play every day to really practice your downstroke riffing.
Riffs with hammer-ons and pull-offs. Sound about right?
Now, this next riff we're going to learn, we're going...
That's right. Let's see. I don't want to harmonize that.
Downstroke riffing.
Harmony didn't sound as cool to me on that one. Oh well. Combos like Tony Hawk Pro Skater. Very good. Another form of shredding. Alright, let's go on to the riff number 4.
Put my hands immediately back down to this is like thrash metal riff. Let's go through this one more time, guys.
I missed it.
So what I'm doing,
Here we go.
in this video, I started playing around with it. I was like, hey, helping you become a better metal rhythm guitar player.
Alternate picking with roll-off riffs. JR. Well, hello, sir. Good to see you on. It's been a while. Hope everything's going okay. I know you had a bunch of job stuff, crazy schedule going on. Is that, did things get better for your schedule? Able to play again? I believe that was the riff. Well, pretty damn close. Let's go to the last
Now
one.
this next, now that song is actually from also my the album. I'm trying to think of the back numbers. Number 6 is called Never Enough on the Masterpiece album.
Triplet chromatic riffs. Now, is he actually going to play triplets again? No, I mean, again. Is he actually going to play triplets this time? Or is he going to incorrectly call reverse gallops a triplet? Yeah, that's more reverse gallop. Not very triplety.
You know, you probably noticed that has a slight Megadeth feel to it.
It sure does.
Like kind of feel. And, you know, I did that intentionally. That is kind of how that starts out. But I wanted to do some different things with this riff, kind of to make it original and authentic for you to practice, okay? So we are starting out on the 2nd string, and we're going to be on frets 5, 6.
He said the 2nd string. Well, you might be right. He may not know music theory stuff, because that's the 5th string, not the 2nd. Not playing as much as you would like, but at least playing, or at least a little every day. Well, at least it's a little bit. Well, hopefully that can change enough for you soon. So you can play as much as you do want to.
6 and 7, and we're going back to those triplet, okay? We're using that triplet, really quick alternate picking technique, really snappy, but we're going to be doing that for all 3 notes. Like before, you know, we only did that on 1 note. Okay, this time we're... So every time you pick, alternate picking, real fast, real snappy. Now, what I'm doing after that, that part's pretty simple. I'm going to the E string, and I'm going to hit the 5th and 6th fret. I'm going to do like a little hammer-on pull-off, okay? Now, the next part, the second half of this riff.
Hard time finding out what he's feeling as the downbeat on this thing. It's just weird. Even when I was listening to him play the whole thing, it was still like, where is the downbeat? It just seemed kind of off to me.
Now, the next part, the second half of this riff, we're going to go on the E string and kind of repeat that same pattern there, but we're going to be playing on frets 3, 4, and 5. Okay, and then we're just going to end on the 3rd fret, then back to the E power chord. So let me take you through this entire thing, okay? Again, it's got a really nice...
Yeah, I don't know where the hell the downbeat is on that. Maybe it's like a odd time signature riff, and I need to hear the drums to know what the hell's going on. But there we go. All right, that was a fast one. Hey, we still got time for at least one more thing. So let's get to another thing. Thrash metal or the theory one. So okay, we did the thrash metal thing. The theory. All right. I'm gonna take this one out. Remove from watch later. The theory one. Which one was it? Do you remember the title? We'll start going through here again. Mr. Taylor. Is that it? The most important music theory idea you'll ever learn? Was that the one? Because it looks like I watched it because it's all red down there. Do the 10 hacks. Well, I had the theory one come up. Wait a minute. Did you say that first? Who said what first? Hang on. Shit. I'm sorry you did. You said the 10 hacks. Okay, I gotta go in order. I gotta do my... Alright, we'll do this. It is true. So we had Max said the thrash metal one. Death World said 10 guitar hacks. And then Mr. Taylor said thrash metal or the theory one. Okay, so I gotta stick with my word. We will do the theory. Okay, let's see how much time we got. Maybe we'll do the both. We'll do the most important music theory thing after the hack thing. It was which one? 10. Fuck, where'd it go? 10 guitar hacks. Alright, we'll do that first because I want to honor what I said and go in order. I said first come, first serve. Okay, there it is. 10 guitar hacks that 10 times you're playing. Hey, we got another one from How to Practice Guitar. Okay. We'll check this one out, and then the music theory one, and then that's going to be it for the stream today. Open link in new tab. There we go. That's what I'm looking for.
Today I'm going to show you...
Jesus Christ, the volume is so different on these videos. You're damn right. It takes more than 5 minutes to memorize the fretboard. I don't know if you've... Yeah. And I don't know if you're going to go back and re-watch the how the stream started, but yeah, it was not memorizing the fretboard in 5 minutes. He was basically just showing a trick using octaves to quickly navigate the fretboard to find the same note at different octaves on different strings, some of which seemed like it was a bit too much work than necessary, and you're better off just learning the names of the strings so you can quickly jump or identify what the notes are that way, understanding that everything is a whole step apart except for the notes B and C, E and F. He kind of talked about that. But then this really long-winded way of finding what the note name is on like the low E string is interesting, kind of, but yeah, kind of an unnecessary trick for going through that. Try a Rusty Cooley Bet You Can't Play This. Maybe someday. I actually found one of his things and he uses like a 4-finger lick, and man, I never practiced those things. So in that case, if you can find me a Rusty Cooley Bet You Can't Play This that is not a 4-finger lick, like 4 notes on one string, then we can try that next time. So how about that? We'll save that for next time if you find me one. Find me the one you want me to do, and then we'll do that next week, okay? Because I can tell you now, if it's involving 4 fingers on one string, then yep, that's right, I can't play it. Maybe someday, but I just never work on those things. And one thing I tried using 4 fingers on one string really strained my wrist. So I don't like doing them anyway because of the wrist problems that I have. I don't want to make them worse. Anyway, alright, so here we go. Another video from How to Practice Guitar. 10 guitar hacks that 10 times you're playing. A very appropriate clickbaity title, because how the hell can you guarantee it's going to 10 times you're playing? You can't, but perhaps there will be good pieces of advice anyway. Let's find out.
10 guitar playing life hacks that help solve a number of common and frustrating guitar technique problems. And I call them life hacks because in most cases they take basically no practice at all. And in the few cases where they do take just a little bit of practice, you begin feeling results and feeling improvement right away, which makes you feel better about practicing them. Let's begin. You know how when you do string bends, sometimes the string either pops out from under the finger that's doing the bend, creating noise, or even worse, sometimes the lower in pitch string is going to get caught under the finger that's bending the higher string, create even more noise. It's really annoying. Here's a simple way to fix it. All you do is instead of putting the finger down on the string like this as if you're going to fret a regular note, I want you to bring the elbow out a little bit so that the hand is a little bit of an angle. That's the first thing. And the second thing is put the finger that's doing the bend on the wood between the string you're going to be bending and the higher in pitch string. This way, the finger is going to be underneath the string I'll be bending, and not only is the B string going to be securely inside my grip, but most importantly, the G string is not going to be anywhere near the finger doing the bend. That's going to...
Well, it's certainly near the finger. Well, that's an interesting approach. So bending the B string, he's saying put your finger on the wood, put your elbow out. Well, wait, what? What?
Going to avoid all those string noise problems. Importantly, the G string is not bending, and the higher in putting the finger down on the string like this as if you're going to fret a regular note, I want you to bring the elbow out a little bit so that the hand is a little bit of an angle. That's the first thing. And the second thing is put the finger that's doing the bend on the wood between the string you're going to be bending and the higher in pitch string. This way, the finger is going to be underneath the string I'll be bending, and not only is the B string going to be securely inside my grip, but most importantly, the G string is not going to be anywhere near the thing.
What? I suppose I am using a bit of an angle when I go to bend. But I'm certain, I mean, I guess it's, my finger is, well, no, not really touching the wood. I mean, I'm putting my finger on there like I normally would. I got my fingers behind it. There is an angle to it. Never really noticed that before. But there's a bit of an angle anyway. It's already at an angle. Not really there because I need to have the stretch. Okay. That seems like a really weird one. Because you have to grab the string. That seems very confusing to me. He says, don't fret the string like you would normally grab a note. Put your finger on the wood underneath it. That seems really strange. Because you still gotta hold the damn string. No. Well, the way I go about teaching people how to do bends and not grab anything else is you put your finger down, and then as you're bending the string, you got to kind of push up, kind of go up like that. So you kind of push, go for the bend, start with the bend, and then push up and straighten your fingers out. So this way you're pushing the other string out of the way and not grabbing it when you go up. You just got to be careful to like kind of push that G string out of the way. Using the fretting hand to mute the string that you're pushing out of the way is also very helpful. So this way when you come back down, you don't accidentally create a pull-off. I would imagine that piece of advice would confuse people more than help. Because it sure as hell confused the crap out of me. But maybe I'm just dumb.
finger doing the bend, that's going to avoid all those strings. What you want to do is you want to hold the pick to know the best way to hold the pick for maximum speed. Here's a little trick. What you want to do works. Everybody wants to... It works. Everybody wants to know the best way to hold the pick for maximum speed. Here's a little trick. What you want to do is you want to hold the pick as close as possible this way, closer to the power joints of your hand that are going to be doing most of the picking. In my case, it is the wrist joint because I use what's called wrist dominant picking. So what I did was, instead of putting the pick on the side of the first joint of the index finger where I used to have it for many years, this worked okay, but I realized that this was not getting the pick as close as I could.
What? What? He has another video. Do you remember 2 weeks ago? He talks about picking from the elbow to go as fast as possible. So why is he saying he's now wrist dominant picking? I don't get it. I feel like this is not adding up. I feel like I feel like it's contradictory. I feel like he's contradicting himself. And hold the pick. What? What?
This way towards my wrist joint. So what I did was I decided to slide it closer towards the second joint, right where the crease between the first and second joints on the finger is, right there. I put the pick right on that crease, put the thumb on top of it so it looks like that from this angle, and see how the thumb hangs over the edge of the pick like so. And the important thing is to have this opening between the thumb and index finger so it looks like an OK sign between the two fingers. Don't close it out like that because that creates way too much tension. And with the pick in this position, it gives me plenty of power when I'm picking, but takes the least amount of effort out of my picking hand.
Okay. Well, I do not hold the pick there on the crease of my finger. And to me, I don't like the way that feels because now I can't do my little thumb motion stuff like I like to do. If I hold it here, I really don't like that at all. Still make sure you have the OK sign, huh? No, I don't like that because now I can't. I have less control over what I'm able to do that way. Well, I don't like that idea either. Oh, 2 for 2. I don't like them. I'm just being a big bully today, I guess.
It works. Many people...
For him, it works. You know, it's one of those things, like, if it works for you, great. If you're able to make it sound the way you want it to sound, great. But to say that that's the best way to hold the pick for maximum speed, well, it sure as hell doesn't work for me. So, no, it doesn't. It works. No, not for me, and neither does the first one. But maybe he's just better than me, and that's what it really comes down to.
Struggle to play arpeggios that have finger rolling motions in them. You know, you have to fret several notes across different strings on the same fret with the same finger. If you do it wrong, it sounds like this. Absolutely horrible. But even if you understand that this is not a bar, that you're not supposed to just fret all 3 notes with one finger like this and then just hit them like a chord, you're supposed to play 1 note at a time, it can still feel a little bit inconsistent and there can still be a little bit of sloppiness in there. Here's the hack for fixing this. Instead of having the finger parallel with the fret like common sense would tell you when you're doing a finger roll, you want to angle it sideways a little bit like this. So if you're doing a 3-string roll on the 7th fret, you're going to start right next to the 7th fret on the 3rd string, but then when you're done, the finger is going to be basically touching the high E string near the 6th fret. It seems weird, but this is the key to getting your rolling to be a lot more consistent and a lot cleaner. Watch. Try it out, it works.
Alright, let's try that one. Another idea I've never thought of. Of course, I never deal with rolling over 3 strings either. So he's saying don't do it like this. He's saying do it like this. All right, this one I do like. That actually does help. Interesting. Yeah, holding it at an angle, it does feel easier to control that. Anyway, I need to practice that to make it sound better. But yeah, it does feel like you can control the 3-string roll better. All right. 2 I don't like, 1 I do. 7 more to go.
And of course, it does not matter if you do rolling in the beginning, middle, or end of the arpeggio, or which finger you end up doing the roll with. It still takes this slight diagonal path with the finger across the frets to do the rolling consistently and cleanly. Watch. Practice it this way, it'll help you a lot. Many people run into this weird...
Those were very well done. I would say he is better at sweep picking than I am. Something yeah. One of these days, perhaps I'll get better at it.
Problem with their thumb as they learn to play scales with the thumb behind the neck of the guitar, like I talked about in my Blame Your Thumb video tutorial. As they ascend the scale, they go from the 6th string to the 5th string to the 4th to the 3rd, the 2nd and 1st. If the thumb follows along with the other fingers, by the time you are on the 2nd string or the 1st string, the thumb feels like it's going to be slipping off the fretboard any second, and you feel like you have no support at all. Here's a simple way to fix this. All you do is you slightly angle your hand into the non-perpendicular fretting position that I talked about in my other videos when you get to the 2nd string and the 1st string. So when you start out in this position with this knuckle and this knuckle basically perpendicular to the frets, you stay in this position and you keep the thumb in the center of the fretboard basically as you are ascending the first 4 strings. But then, as you're about to shift from the 3rd string to the 2nd string, boom, the hand angles, you're in this non-perpendicular position, and this allows you to keep the thumb in the center of the fretboard and have your hand in a nice, balanced position. Here's what it looks like from the back. Say I'm going to play an A major scale, and I'm going to have the thumb in the center of the fretboard where it should be. I'm going to start ascending to the 6th string, 5th, 4th, 3rd string. The thumb didn't move at all. Now I need to shift by 1 fret as I go to the 2nd string because I'm playing a 3-note per string major scale. And instead of sliding the thumb down like this, I'm just going to keep it exactly where it is, but I'm going to turn the hand to get in this non-perpendicular hand position, and that allows me to keep the thumb planted in basically the same spot. Here's a trick for relaxing excess tension when you play, especially when you're trying...
He didn't say it works. I don't do that. I'm not changing it to this. It still stays like that. Say I stay in the same position. My thumb's staying right back there in the same spot. Just don't have your thumb drift this way towards the end of the fretboard. Just fucking keep your thumb down there. Why the hell would you move your thumb up like that? That's so unnecessary. Well, there's three no's and 1 yes for me. All right, relaxation is well, I can see a little subtitle down here. All right, trick for relaxing.
Trying to play fast. Everybody tells you to just relax and relax and relax some more. But that does not always work, especially if you're not aware of the tension you're even feeling or where you're holding that tension. Here's a simple trick. All you do is you tense up your entire body even more while you're playing something hard, and then you relax. So again, tense up really, really hard. Brace your stomach, tense your jaw, tense everything, clench your fists. and then let go and exhale like air coming out of the balloon. The reason this works is because it makes you more aware of what excessive tension feels like, and it makes it obvious how bad it feels because you obviously can't maintain that super excessive level of tension forever. So when you let go of the tension, you automatically relax to a slightly greater level of relaxation than you were before you started. Especially if you do this several times, you will find yourself relaxing more and more each time. The next life hack is going to help you make your playing sound.
Well, that's one that Deaf World has experienced. That's what you talked about, right? Clenching a fist to get it to relax afterwards. So I haven't done this one myself, and I'm not about to right now. If anything, I feel like if I was to clench everything like crazy, I would just feel tired, and therefore I wouldn't have the energy to feel tense afterwards. So we'll say 1.5 on this. Or kind of a in between. So 3 no's, 1 yes, 1 I guess.
A little bit better, and believe it or not, it's also going to make you play a little bit faster and a little bit cleaner as well. And it has to do with the type of guitar pick you use. Here are 2 things I recommend you look for in any pick you buy. First, I recommend your pick be thick enough so it does not flex as you push through the strings, especially when you're trying to play fast with a lot of articulation. This helps your hands to stay in sync when you play at faster tempos. And for most people, this works out to be at least 1 millimeter in thickness for the pick. And before anybody cries, but what about Paul Gilbert? He uses very thin picks and he plays very fast with great articulation. I have a video on this topic, which you can check out on the screen right here, where I talk about all my thoughts about Paul Gilbert's picks and whether you should use them or not. And the second thing to look for is that your pick should have beveled edges, meaning it should be smooth right out of the box. It should not require any breaking in at all. You shouldn't have to play for a few hours as the pick kind of scrapes on the strings with these rough edges. When it has beveled edges, it glides through the strings immediately from the very first moment you touch the string, makes it super easy to play fast like a hot knife through butter. Many people struggle to do inside picking.
I wonder why he wasn't consistent with doing the whole it works thing. Yeah, that's one I do for the most part agree with. Maybe not the way he worded everything. But I do recommend, if you want to play fast, at least 1 millimeter thick on your pick. And if you can get them beveled, even better. Mine is 4 millimeters thick and very beveled. Very beveled, extra beveled, 3 point. Well, yeah, it was basically like 3 picks in one because, yeah, 1, 2, 3 points there. It's quite nice. Where am I at? There we go.
Incorrectly. You know where the pick goes back and forth between 2 strings like this? And a big part of the problem has to do with the name itself. I don't like that name inside picking because it implies that your pick is literally stuck inside the space of the strings the entire time. But that's not what actually happens. Because if you take this too literally, here's what happens. You do the first downstroke, let's say on the G string, and now if my pick is between the G string and the B string, to get to the D string without coming outside the space of the strings, my pick is going to knock into the string I just played, and obviously that's going to create a mess. The same thing happens when I do an upstroke on the D string. My pick is now inside the space between the D and the A strings, and without coming outside the strings, this creates a problem for me when I'm going back and forth between 2 strings like this. A better way to do this is to do a down and away motion with a slight wrist extension on every downstroke so that your pick comes outside the space of the strings, so it's not straight down, it's down and away. And this way you have enough clearance to get to the next string to do an upstroke there, and you do an up and away motion so it's outside the strings again, not straight up and away. And this is what I mean when I say I don't like the name inside picking, because it kind of ignores the fact that your pick is spending a lot of its time outside the space of the strings if you want to do this motion cleanly and fast. And the irony is your hand already tries to come outside the strings, but if your brain keeps thinking inside, 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 it's actually fighting what your hand naturally wants to do the motion correctly. Now some people struggle to find a proper...
Yep, there's the old Troy Grady's bread and butter. Yep, just out and away, down and away, up and away. So I agree with him on that one. Can you still get good pick strokes with the 4 millimeter pick? I suppose so. Yes. Picking hand position, the next topic.
Position for their picking hand when they're playing. They wonder if they should be closer to the bridge or closer to the neck or somewhere in the middle. What I tell people is, instead of focusing on the wrist, start with the shoulders. Focus at the top, get that right first, and that's going to guide your wrist position, not the other way around. Here's what I mean. You want to make sure that your shoulders are relaxed and that they're in a T formation with your body, like this, forming a letter T. If that happens, then wherever your wrist naturally ends up, that is your proper picking hand position, give or take a millimeter or two. The next hack is really useful for getting your hands in sync, and I talked about playing on...
Interesting take. I have no experience with advising that one. I just think like where your hand should be actually has a lot to do with how you're going to mute things. Because one of the biggest issues I come across with students is they have their hand too far to the bridge. In fact, they end up going past the bridge. So this way they have all kinds of open string noise ringing out with their playing stuff. So where should your hand be? Somewhere in the middle here. Like it's easily far enough towards the neck. This way you can mute the lower pitch strings that aren't being used. But not so far over to the right. Well, depending on if you play right-handed or left-handed, but not so far toward past the bridge that you can't mute the strings anymore. So basically that's how my students who have a hard time muting is put your pick directly over the neck pickup. And that really puts you in a good place to get good muting. I'm not talking about palm muting. I'm talking about muting unwanted string noise. Palm muting and muting out unwanted string noise, those are two different things. Although sometimes palm muting can actually eliminate the unwanted noise, but still two different things. Picking hand position. Oh, that's what we're talking about right now, isn't it?
Plugged before in other videos on my channel, but here's a little visualization trick that's going to make your unplugged practice a lot more effective. Imagine yourself in the middle of a football stadium with 40,000 people up in the stands and you're trying to play, I don't know, Star Spangled Banner or something, but then you realize you forgot your amp at home. So you have 40,000 people who need to hear you and you just have your unplugged guitar. How loudly would you play to make everybody in the stands hear you? Have that visualization in your mind and now play. That's going to help you hit the notes with extra amount of power, which is going to get your hands even more in sync. It's going to improve your articulation, improve your picking hand strength, and it's going to make everything about your playing a lot better. The next idea also has to do with two-hand synchronization.
Hold on a minute. Okay, I think there's like timestamps on this video, but I don't think they were correctly done because something seems wrong here. Because that's called picking hand position, and then what he was just now talking about is not the same thing. Hold on.
Focusing on the wrist, start with the shoulders. Focus at the top, get that right first, and that's going to guide your wrist position, not the other way around. Here's what I mean. You want to make sure that your shoulders are relaxed and that they're in a T formation with your body, like this, forming a letter T. If that happens, then wherever your wrist naturally ends up, that is your proper picking hand position, give or take a millimeter or two. The next hack is really useful for getting your hands in sync, and I talked about playing unplugged before in other videos on my channel, but here's a little visualization trick that's going to make your unplugged practice a lot more effective. Imagine yourself in the middle of a football stadium with 40,000 people up in the stands and you're trying to play, I don't know, Star Spangled Banner or something, but then you realize you forgot your amp at home. So you have 40,000 people who need to hear you and you just have your unplugged guitar. How loudly would you play to make everybody in the stands hear you? Have that visualization in your mind and now play. That's going to help you hit the note.
So you're supposed to pick really damn hard, but keep your fretting hand relaxed. I feel like that's a very confusing thing to say. One issue I've noticed with students is they try and pick too damn hard, or even fret too hard, which causes a lot of unnecessary fatigue, unnecessary tension, and just causes problems. So I do not agree with this one either. Like, I don't see how picking your damn hardest is going to improve your hand synchronization. So pick as hard as you possibly can while keeping your fret hand nice and relaxed. That feels odd. Sounds odd. I don't get that one.
With extra amount of power, which is going to get your hands even more in sync. It's going to improve your articulation, improve your picking hand strength, and it's going to make everything about your playing a lot better. The next idea also has to do with two-hand synchronization, but you're going to approach it from the opposite extreme. Instead of practicing unplugged, I want you to turn your amp on, turn on distortion, and use your bridge pickup, so this pickup right here, and you're going to be practicing on the lowest two strings of the guitar, strings 6 and 5. What you're going to do is play any scale or scale sequence moving horizontally from the first fret up to the highest fret on your guitar using only the bass 2 strings, string 6 and 5, like this. And so on. The reason this is effective is because it forces you to develop more picking hand power and stamina by staying on the thickest strings of the guitar where we usually don't spend a lot of time, especially as lead guitar players. Most of the time,
I would say that's where I spend most of my time because of the riffing. And it's actually, for most of us, and I say that because of how I am, plus most of the students that I've worked with, we have a much easier time playing faster on those bottom 2 strings. We have a harder time playing faster on the top 2 strings because the top 2 strings, well, they're a lot more flimsy. They want to flop around a bit more. The bottom 2 strings, with them being thick, the nice round strings, the pick just glides off the strings more easily. So I disagree with this one too. I am very much not agreeing with this video. Only a couple things is that I was like, yes. Most of this, no. This one, definitely no. How's... Anyway.
When we play our faster licks, we're playing on the treble strings, on the G, B, and high E strings, but when you're staying on the lower strings, you'll quickly find that it's kind of hard to articulate the notes, to keep your hands in perfect sync, to make all that happen with good palm muting, and it's going to force you to develop a lot of power throughout your wrist, throughout your forearm.
It is harder to articulate the notes on the lower strings, but I feel like it's only because of the lower strings themselves. Like, it's lower in pitch, therefore it's not going to cut through as much. Which is why I actually have people now, when we do speed picking stuff, start on the higher strings, because it's easier to hear the notes cut through better. I used to have people start on whichever string they actually felt better with, because every now and then, it's rare, but some people do feel like they can pick faster and more easily on the higher pitch strings. So if they did felt like it was easier for them to do that, I would start them there. And for the rest of us who feel an easier time starting with the lower pitch strings, I would start them there. But I was noticing that people were just having a hard time actually hearing the note articulation on the lower strings. That's just because of the nature of the lower strings, though. They just couldn't hear it. It's just, you play on really low-end bassy strings, that stuff just doesn't cut through very much, which is one reason why it's so hard to hear a lot of death metal material, because it's so low in pitch that it's just tough to hear note articulation. It's just because it just sounds low. That's why. I don't think it's harder to play on those strings. In fact, again, it feels easier to me.
And when you're just going back to your regular licks, they'll feel a lot easier. Let me know down in the comments which of the life hacks was the most helpful for you, which one you had the most fun applying and you're practicing. If you want some more help with building your guitar speed but you hate slow...
Well, there you go. Didn't like that one at all. That was, man. Oh well. Oh well. Well, the finger roll thing, definitely liked that one. That was a new one, and it felt good. Yeah, angling the finger to do 3-string finger rolls was a great idea. But, I mean, that was really it for me. That's it. Everything else I really don't agree with. In fact, some of the stuff I think would actually cause problems. Okay, time for the final video. Actually, I need to remove that one from this playlist first. Last video we're going to watch today, the most important music theory idea you'll ever learn. I swear we watched this. And I just didn't remove from the list. Let's find out.
Hey guys, and welcome back to...
We did. Mr. Taylor, are you still there? Because you brought this one up. I want to wait and make sure you're still here. See if you remember looking at this one. Yeah, as soon as I brought this up, I was like, right, we did. I remember his voice. I remember like going through some of the chord progression stuff, and I didn't take it off the list. Maybe I was going to come back to it and finish it later. All right. All right, let's get rid of that one then. Oh, I guess that's it then. Because, yeah, it's been just over 2 hours, so it's probably a good idea I call it anyway. Here we go. Any last minute questions or topics of discussion before we wrap up this stream? Some of the stuff I think I should just take out of here. Oh well. Have a good nap, sir. Talk to you later. I'll wait a few minutes here, see if anyone does have any questions or things they want to talk about before the stream ends. Give everyone a chance to say something. Because I know there's a lag between what I talk or do something and what YouTube shows me. Really got to get better at that riff so I can record it for the mode course. Question. Do you think a thicker string gauge helps with picking faster riffs? I feel like the string deflects less. Yeah, I've messed with different string gauges. Yeah, well, it depends. Like, there's a kind of a sweet spot, yeah? Like, I think it's also a personal preference thing. It's like, obviously, if the string is too thick, you're not going to be able to... then it could be a problem, too. For example, playing shreddy things on the bass. It's definitely harder to play super fast shreddy things on a bass, and those are some really, really thick strings. So that's too thick. But obviously playing on something like a 7-gauge high E string, yeah, it's going to be tough. So... like that's a 9-gauge for the high E string, and I think the low E is like, I don't know, 48. I don't really remember. It's fairly light gauge though. Do I have that Yeah, I don't have too thick strings on there, and the reason why I ended up going fairly light is man, it's just easier to hold the chords down. So it's just like nice, like it barely feels like I barely have to push the strings down at all. So I tend to like having them fairly light. It just feels like I have less fatigue, less effort in the fretting aspect of it. That's fairly common too. Yeah, the light top, heavy bottom. Definitely it sounds better too. Well, maybe a little bit. I remember like one time I ended up going with like just a regular pack of 9-gauge strings, and then like holy crap, bar chords are easy now. And it just felt really nice. But yeah, that is a common thing, having the really heavy low strings and super light on the high strings. Probably just easier to draw the bending. But yeah, no issues picking fast when I'm playing on these strings here. I wonder what it would be like to actually play on one of those. I think, was it 7? 7 is the lightest gauge I've ever seen. They even make, Ernie Ball makes like a 7.5 gauge string. Take a quick look at it. Sure, why not? Let's take a quick look at it. Hope you got a tab for it. Or I hope there is a tab for it. And then, okay, so this will be what we end the stream with then. A strike of the beast. Okay, well this has this is the best rated one. Downloading. Guitar Pro 4. Wow. Well, that's an old one. Maybe multi-scale also for different string tensions, like the low strings could be thin. Oh, low strings could still be thin and tight, not deflect much. You know, there's actually the 7 string I have is multi-scale, and I need to put them on. Like, I felt like these strings were actually a bit too light because they're so easy to push down, but I felt like they just kind of kept getting almost like wanting to go out of tune a little bit too easy. Almost like they were too easy to push down. So I'm just like, I got a pack here. So I need to put the things on. So 9 on the high E, and then a 64 for the low B. I'm hoping that would actually ends up working out, because the last pack I had was a little bit lighter than that. I think it was like 50 something for the low B. Because this says a 46 for the low E. So I'm guessing this is a 42 on mine right now. Let me go to this. So the intro here, assuming this is correct, hopefully. What we would have 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E. Would that actually be palm muted though? I don't know the song. So you got your reverse gallop as the rhythm here. So you're going to be going 1 E and so like down, up, down, and you really just down, up, down, 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 because you got the pull-offs. So I'm going to do it halftime. Down, up, down, 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 down. And then downstroke there as well. So down, up, down, 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 up, down, 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 down. Just like that. Down, up, down, 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 down. That's funky. Just gotta get used to the little pull-offs in there like that. But that's how I would go about it. Yep, just gotta keep pushing it faster and faster. I mean, that's just kind of tricky there. It's just fast. That's all, yeah. You just gotta get fast at it. Alright. Well, I think that's gonna do it for this week. Next week, the plan is back at the same time, 1 p.m. Pacific time zone. Don't know what the first reaction thing is going to be yet, but I got tons of videos. And of course, if anyone has anything they'd like me to do on here, just let me know. Post it in the comments or just send me a direct message at john@milehighshred.com. And yeah, that's that. You're very welcome. Thank you for being on the stream. Thank you to everyone who was on the stream and who watches the archive stuff. All those things. This stream is over. See you again next week.